This conference will now be recorded.
All right, good afternoon, everybody. Happy 2022. Hope everybody had a healthy and happy holiday season, and we really lucked out with the weather. Hopefully, we'll just get some cold and a little bit more snow and get through and get spring and get everything blooming again, which would be a wonderful thing for everybody, especially me. So just to get moving on this, let's get if we can get an approval of our December 14th minutes. Can I get a motion to accept?
So moved.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Second, Cassandra. Any more discussion on the minutes? Okay, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstain? So in December, we were going to have this great presentation, and we did put it on for the January, which I think Ryan is very appropriate for this to do this in the beginning of a brand new year. So what we're doing is Kelly's getting it on the screen. Ryan, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Ryan. I'm a 6th grader at Tomlinson Middle School and in Fairfield.
Very cool. And Ryan has a presentation he would like to give to the Conservation Commission, and we're really happy about that. So Ryan, why don't we just have you start? Can you see the screen? You're all set? Cool.
Good. Thank you. Hi, I'm Ryan. I'm a 6th grader at Tomlinson Middle School. Next slide, please. If you pay attention at all to nature, it's clear that everything on this planet is connected and dependent on each other. Storms like Hurricane Ida, floods, and other natural disasters are a direct result of climate change, and they're just going to get worse if we don't take action now. Next slide, please. I started this project because I wanted to do anything I could to save the Earth. Planting trees is a simple task with a huge impact. If the world population committed to planting 1 trillion trees, we could actually halt global warming by 2.7 degrees. Next slide, please. In addition to helping climate change, trees have endless benefits ranging from cooling city streets by 10 degrees to even improving people's mental health. Next slide, please. Fairfield is working with local nurseries on a campaign to help make it easy for everyone to plant trees right in their own yard. Please check out these local nurseries and consider planting your own. Next slide, please. Trees are a critical host to moths and butterflies and provide habitats for other wildlife. Next slide, please. Just one oak tree can provide food for 534 different species of pollinators. Next slide, please. Kids are ready to change our world. We just need help. Schools and communities need to educate kids on the environment and climate change and support kids in finding more ways to help improve our planet. Sorry. It's up to all of us to do what we can to make our future better. Next slide, please. The idea of planting trees isn't unique. There are many stories out there of people planting forests and improving the place they live in. Imagine if we were all able to unite in this cause and every kid and adult around the world helped plant trees. The result could really save the Earth. Thank you.
Ryan, thank you so very much. That's great. So it's very appropriate for us to be talking about this. The town of Stratford does have pollinator pathways, and we're really proud of that to be developing pollinator pathways throughout the zoo. And Kelly's going to be talking a little bit later about planting a whole bunch of trees for the town of Stratford. So that's very appropriate for you to come out today. Again, we really appreciate it. Does any of the commissioners have any questions for Ryan?
No, I think he did an excellent job of explaining himself. Thank you so much, Ryan, and for taking the initiative.
Thank you.
Ryan, I have a question. My name's Cassandra. I currently care for trees in a little bit different of a fashion than our tree warden. I work at a tree service company where we do all kinds of work. So my question for you is, how do we help kids like you that want to get involved with STEM realize that arboriculture is a career pathway and not just something you would do in addition to your main career?
So you could get it into schools and say that it's a big thing, and then you could commit your whole life to doing it. Not like whole life, but commit to doing it. And you could also like put it in like news and stuff and that kind of.
Thanks, Ryan.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for Ryan?
So Ryan, this is Laura Dancho, and I sit on town council for the Stratford, town of Stratford. And I'm just wondering if in your school system you have curriculum that teaches you about environmental issues and the value of tree planting. Do you have like science courses or an instructor that teaches you about that?
No, I want to like have it.
Okay, great.
It's a great program. So Ryan, thank you very much. I don't know if you know, my name's Greg Dancher. I'm the chair of this commission, but also I am the director at Connecticut Beardsley Zoo. I don't know if you've been there before, but if you get a chance to visit, we do a lot of that work there, and we hope that someday you want to become one of our volunteers, because again, that we do a lot of work with students on environmental issues and conservation issues, and getting out there and planting and doing invasive plant removal. We all know that's a problem too. So I really appreciate it. It really makes me feel good to have you do this program. You're doing it. How many programs have you been doing like this around?
Yeah, thank you. For
How many programs are you doing? Are you doing a lot of programs?
not many right now, but hopefully soon I'll be doing more.
Well, just to speak for Ryan, I've been with Ryan. He's done it in Fairfield, in Trumbull. He's done it with you, and we're working with our tree warden to get in front of the Urban Forestry Council and
Right.
some more statewide programs as well. So yeah.
Nice.
All right. And let me ask a question of Kelly before we let you go. Kelly, is this something we could put this presentation? I'm not sure if this presentation can be downloaded, to one of our site, or like our Facebook page or someplace on our town. Is that something that you'd be willing to do? Or you don't have to answer that question right now. Mary you guys can talk about it, but it may be something that we'd like to put out that people can read about it, because a lot of information on there. And it's great to get that out to the people. The more we get that out to people, the better off we are. So don't have to answer that question now. You guys can talk about it, but if you want, you know how to get a hold of us, and maybe we can get that up on our Facebook page and some other places, maybe in the town, to take a look at.
I forgot to mention Ryan also has presented to classroom kids as well. So
Cool. Very good.
Yeah.
Excellent. Great job. But think about that, because again, the more education we get out there, the better off we all will be. You going to school now, Ryan? Or are they doing from home?
I'm going to school.
Good. All right.
I would really love to do that.
All right. Cool. All right, guys. Anything else for us, Ryan? Any questions for us?
No, not really.
Okay. Very good. All right, guys. Thank Ryan. Thank you so much, Mary. Thank you so much for bringing Ryan to us. We really, truly appreciate it. Have a great evening. Maybe go out and get some dinner now, huh?
yeah.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank
Thanks,
you.
Ryan.
Take care.
Bye.
Keep up the good work.
Yes.
All right. Well, that was very apropos. Thank you, Ryan.
Mhm.
So cute.
All right. Yeah. No, if we can get that presentation, if that's something they'd be willing to put out either on our website or on the Facebook page, that'd be great. We'll see. I'm not sure if the Facebook page may be a little long for that, but we shall think about that. All right. So again, thanks Mary for bringing that to us, and Joe for getting that set up, and thanks Eileen and Kelly for making it easy for them to put it on the screen. Let's move on now to report of the Conservation Administrator, the Superintendent, Bon Vivant, Tree Ward, whatever you want to be called today.
Whatever you want to call me. All right. I'm just going to go right down my list here, beginning with Tree City USA. We have prepared a draft of our application to the Arbor Day Foundation to become recognized as a Tree City USA, and that is due on Thursday. We've been having some technical issues on their web-based app that we have to submit through, but we're getting those sorted out after this meeting, and then I'm planning on having the mayor sign the application, as long as she approves, of course, which I believe she will. So she'll be signing that tomorrow, and we'll be submitting that as well. So after that, it'll go before Danica Dorowski, who's our state urban forestry coordinator. And I have been in correspondence with her on the application as well, so she knows it's coming. So we meet all the criteria, so I don't see why we wouldn't be accepted, but we will see. Any questions on the Tree City USA?
Don't believe so.
A long time coming, so I'm very excited
Yeah,
to find
great.
That was exciting.
Looking forward to it. Be a great spring. It'd be a great spring thing to do.
Exactly. And maybe on that note, I can also touch base. We were awarded, I think that were we awarded last time we met? We were awarded a grant to plant 100 trees in 2 areas of town, one in the western portion of town and one in the southern portion of town. And those are areas that we have identified as lacking significant tree canopy. So we received $37,000 from the Connecticut Urban Forestry Council, and our town council approved of this grant acceptance last night, actually. So this is hot off the press. Still have to work on the contracting and all that, but I think that's forthcoming from the folks at CT Urban Forest Council. So hopefully we'll line up to get planting for either the spring or the fall. It depends on the contract. So that's going to be really exciting, and I hope that the Conservation Commission will be involved in that. We will be, as part of the grant application, we'll have 2 community meetings. It was supposed to be 1 in each area, but anyone could attend either of them. And that would be just to go over basic tree biology. Maybe we can even have Ryan come for that meeting. I think that'd be really neat. So I present to residents, and then just to inform them on the grant, the process, and just to gain their support because these are street trees that we're proposing. Someone's going to have to look at them every day, so we do want to make sure that we have the support of the adjacent homeowner.
Right.
So more to come on that when the contract gets sorted out.
Right, and we had talked about this before with Cassandra, with the trees that would be appropriate for the sites, and that they're not going to pick up sidewalks and be a problem down the road that would have to be removed later if they become a problem. So these are good trees for pollination, for nature, for all that, and shade and all that good stuff. And this is all for town property, right, Kelly?
Yeah, this is all within town rights of way. We did have a provision that if we could not accommodate all of the trees, that we would seek private partnerships on private properties, but based on I did a windshield survey of both areas, and there's plenty of locations for trees to be planted. So I'm anticipating that it'll all be within the rights of way on town roads.
We had done this before, and again, I'm not sure with the Tree City program and the funding coming in, and we had talked about this, and we tried this before, trying to get trees that residents can buy and plant, and they have to maintain them, but we get them on a discount situation. It didn't really work. I'm not sure if maybe it's something just to think about reinstating if we have, Tree City USA, and you got some other trees coming in, you get some momentum going, potentially that maybe get people a little more excited about doing this work. I know when UI was going around chopping just about every tree down on all of the around by the power lines, we had a mixed bag. We had some people that wanted the trees to stay there, and we had other people that say take the tree away. All it does is give me leaves. So, but maybe with this type of program going on, we get a little more momentum on it. Just something to think about for the commission, and Kelly, just we can talk about it as we get closer, maybe to springtime. General.
Recently on Stratford Ladies website, they have had lengthy discussions about the tree removal at Longbrook for the tennis courts, and they talked about what I refer to as Tree Mageddon, which is when the UI came through and powered down and took all the trees down on
Right.
Wilcox Avenue and Main Street and Huntington Road and all that stuff. And it might be an appropriate time to put together something and put it through that site, because that's
Yeah,
where
I would say at least we should announce that grant that you have for the parts of town that you're doing plantings in, just so people know stuff's going on, because we don't talk about the good news, you know?
Yeah,
Right.
and
That's
that was what I was getting to, is I almost said something on the site and then held my tongue, because I wanted them to know that, you know, we're working with Tree City and we're working to get grants and looking at different kinds of species that will be non-destructive and things like that. But I wanted to say that you're always welcome to put it on your own property.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
I didn't say anything. It was better to not say anything until I
Well,
had more information.
Yeah, I think right. Yeah, let's let that go for a little later. But I think the Tree City and the grant coming in, and then again maybe we get back to that. You know, looking for somebody that would give us a break on trees, so people don't have to pay that much money. And again, it gets back to the whole education. Well, how do you plant it? How do you take care of a tree? How do you how does this work in the best way? I think this could be good. Something to think about as we get into the spring season. Laura, you got something?
So Kelly, have you planted any street trees yet on a trial basis? Has anything been planted yet?
Yeah, we've done a very small pilot program. This past fall, we planted almost 30 street trees, and it was pretty manageable. But I think that as time progresses, we'll be able to ramp those efforts up. A lot of the tree planting was halted after I came here, because I came on board at the end of 2019, and then the pandemic hit in 2020. So I was kind of halted because we weren't sure if we were going to have to use some of our tree money for COVID-related expenses. So that was kind of the holdup in 2020, and that we're kind of coming out of the weeds now and realizing that we were financially okay and we're not going to be dipping into tree money for COVID. So I'm hopeful that in addition to this grant, that we'll be able to expend our own resources as well, that we already have allotted for tree planting.
And are you getting the cooperation of the homeowners to take care of the trees that have been done?
Yeah.
Are you monitoring that?
Yeah, so far all the street trees that we planted, they were requested by homeowners, and they agreed to water them in order to get them established. So that took the burden off of our gardener.
Yeah.
From watering. So that was really helpful. But we'll see how they all leaf out. We did them all. We did all those plantings in the fall, so I'm excited to see them leaf out this spring and see how they're doing.
Yay.
Okay, Cassandra?
I might be, I don't want to be off topic, but with Tree City USA and how we did the Arbor Day proclamation last year, I know that was like, and I just want to say too real quick, watching Tree City USA go from like F and G all the way up to A is pretty awesome. So good job. But my question is like how we did the Arbor Day proclamation last year, and then you were able to plant trees around town. Is that going to be annual? And if so, is that you know what I mean? Because it's April, it's January, yada yada, planting trees.
I haven't. I've started, I guess, mulling ideas for Arbor Day, but I haven't brought it up to the Public Works Director or anyone yet. So I kind of somewhat of an open book for ideas. But I personally would like to have it, even if it's a small Arbor Day celebration with planting one tree. I would like to do that again. But it'll just be up to funding and then making sure we identify the appropriate celebration. So if you guys want to start mulling that over, and we could start throwing ideas together, I'll get that specifically on our agenda for next month, so we don't forget about it. But
and then to say the river cleanups the next day, just to put that in the reminder too.
Yep.
Okay. Sorry.
Yep, exactly.
Yep.
I'm going to add that onto the agenda as well, just so I remind you all every month of the date of that as well.
Like, do I need to officially bring it up later in new business or no?
Yeah, you can do that.
Everybody?
Yeah.
What's the date of the river cleanup?
It's the day after Arbor Day. Let me see.
It's April
So after
15th.
Arbor Day. April 30th is the
Okay.
kind of looking up / Green.
Thank you.
And then Arbor Day being the 29th, of course.
All right, anything more on Tree City and trees at this point? Or Tree City really is what the topic is.
Yeah.
Open space.
All right, open space, not too much going on here. Deep, I think I'm getting all my dates confused, but DEP and our 2017 grant, which included some parcels to incorporate Roosevelt Forest, they have agreed to I don't want to say split the grant, but they're allowing us to move forward on some of the parcel acquisitions while we wait for these other parcels to come out of litigation. So they have confirmed that in writing to us, and our attorneys are working on the back end for all of the, there's a lot of different AT surveys and sale agreements that have to be conducted or prepared and signed by the property owner between us and the town. So our town attorneys are working on that right now. But and then we're also still working on accepting or potentially accepting Frash Pond as a donation from a commercial landholder that owns that currently. So all that's in motion. There's nothing much to report on that.
Right, and there's no actionable items from this commission on that at all. That's all.
Not this time, no. But coming next year, I mean, I'm assuming that DEEP is going to announce the open space grant opportunity again, and we'll have to rehash that once that is before us if we want to go for any other parcels. So, but that we have a while for that.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments, open space?
Karen?
Sorry.
Oh.
Just a quick question. James Farm Road, any updates on information from James Farm Road?
James Farm Road.
The parcel,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's the James Farm Road parcels. Those two parcels are those that are in litigation that DEEP is kind of like holding for us, so to speak. So as far as I know, it's still in litigation, and I'm not privy to the details of it, and I don't think I want to be. It sounds complicated. So yeah, those are being held still. So the funds for that are being held by DEEP, which is really great. I'm glad they finally put it in writing for us too. We got that early December, I want to say. All right, any other questions on the open space? No. Okay. Waterfront access points. So the waterfront access point guide has to go through the Waterfront Harbor Management Commission. I might be butchering their commission name, and I'm sorry, but they're meeting tomorrow night actually. So I will be going before them to discuss the guide and get their input on it, what they like, what they don't like. So it's becoming a little bit more of a larger collaborative project. And then from there, the mayor also requested that we include economic development, because they may want to include some of this in some of their I guess, promotional videos that they do and other documents of that nature. So it's becoming a little bigger than I think it maybe.
Well, that's a good thing. You know, that's the whole idea is to.
Didn't we want just a map to figure out where to pick up garbage or something? You know. You know, yeah, it's supposed to, you know, again, it's supposed to be a tool for the town. So the original tool was to get our residents to know where they can access waterfront areas, which they may not. But hey, if we can use it as a tool for economic development, and we can use it as a tool for inland wetlands to know that that these areas are important to the town. I mean, hey, it's exactly what it's supposed to do. It's supposed to start at one point and get to another point and be more beneficial to everybody. I think that's great. Not great for Kelly, who's got to tap dance away all of these things.
That's okay. That's okay.
But just wait till this is done. Just wait till this is going to be gorgeous.
All right, cool. Anything else on that? I guess there's not much to say at this point.
Yeah.
So I'll report back next month after I talk to Waterfront Commission, and we'll go from there. Moving on to the. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry.
All right. Brownfields update. Excuse me. Not too much going on here. I'm in the process of closing out our center school brownfield grant that we got in, I want to say 2014, 2015. We finally completed all of the tasks that we could possibly complete under that grant. We did have some excess funds in that grant that I did ask if we could use on other projects, and we cannot, unfortunately, so we will be giving some money back. But that's all right. We were able to complete everything that we set out to do. So that's really exciting to kick that off of the burner there. And then anything else, Brownfields? We still have Raymark's cleanup is going on throughout town.
Well
There is a
Street.
meeting- There's a virtual meeting tomorrow night, and I believe that's focused on the neighborhood surrounding like the Blue Goose area. That's what the next remedial area that EPA will be tending to next. So we pretty much whenever we move to a new neighborhood, we have another neighborhood meeting just to make sure that folks that maybe previously were not privy to Raymark updates can understand what's going on and have the ability to ask questions and be informed on what's going on in their backyard. So that is tomorrow. If you guys need that, I can email the information to you, or you can go to townofstratford.com/Raymark capital R, and all the information is on there as well. Contract trading is on
Any questions?
In the regular meeting on the 26th too.
the regular Raymark Community Action Group meeting.
That's the one that's publicized. That's on the town's website also, right, for everybody?
Yep, completely. And then what else? Contract plating is still on the market, and I understand there's some interested parties. That's being handled out of Mary Dean's office in economic development. I'm just providing all the brownfields related information, so I don't currently have an update on where that stands, but I do know that our broker has been talking to several different parties, so that's really exciting to see some potential movement on contract plating. That's all I have. Any questions on brownfields? Nope. Okay. Moving on to Inland Wetlands Commission applications. I'm keeping this item open just really for the larger applications. And right now, the largest we have is Tequila Estates, Broadbridge Ave, over in that area of town, northern Broadbridge Ave. Their application was not accepted at the December meeting of Inland Wetlands because it was substantially incomplete, and they're back to the drawing board. They did not submit anything. The deadline to submit for this month's Inland Wetlands meeting has passed, and they did not submit anything, so I do not anticipate that we will be having much discussion on Tequila Estates this month either. So it's, again, getting pushed out likely to February or later, depending on, it's all, the ball is in the applicant's court at this point, so.
Okay, so Laura has a question.
Yeah.
So regarding Tequila Estates, what are our options for that property? I mean, is that open to purchase for open space? Since the developers seem to have an issue with getting a proper application together, would that be something that we could consider?
I don't see why not. I have not asked the property owner or the applicant if that's something that they're interested in. I can certainly ask the question, and we can go from there if you'd like.
So yeah, I think everybody kind of knows where that property is off of Broadbridge. That is by the power lines. It's in a valley. Tremendous area for wildlife that moves down through the UI right of way, all the way down right to Remington Woods.
There's power lines that go through there. If you're familiar with the space when you're coming up Broadbridge Avenue towards Bridgeport, it would be on the right-hand side, and you'll see how the power lines come across Broadbridge Avenue and then continue through Stratford. So there's a space there that's called Tequila Estates, where they are proposing to put in, I think, single-family homes, about 20-ish, something like that.
Yep, exactly.
It's just something to really keep an eye on here, because from just talking to the neighbors, bobcat, deer, coyote, just about anything that
also
moves through there. There's wetlands through there. There's a water course. There's resiliency problems with water running down through that valley, down right to Broadbridge Avenue. And then again, that corridor that we find, that Brian was just talking about, pollinator pathway. It's a great pathway for critters that move down there all the way to the Remington Woods behind the condominiums there. So something to keep an eye on. Again, we hate to see that whole area clear cut and taken down for housing. I think that'd be a
So Kelly, like with the developer having month by month delays with getting this application together, it just seems to me that they're not super serious about whatever it is they want to plan to do there.
I mean, I can't speak for them on that
Yeah.
topic. I've been asking them the same questions for months, and they repeatedly do not provide substantial answers. So I'm not quite sure. I don't think it's my personal opinion that the engineer perhaps is a little over his head. But they said
Right.
they'll be revisiting the plans more seriously now that the commission has gone on the record and not accepted their application. Before it was just me not accepting as the inland wetlands agent, and I
Right.
pushed it up to the commission since we're getting these repeated submittals from them. So now they heard it from the commission, and I'm hoping that they're taking it a little more seriously now.
So on the procedural stuff, Kelly, just to reiterate on procedural status, that if it does get approved, then there's a time clock starts ticking on actual.
I think it's accepted, yeah, accepted, not approved.
And not, I'm sorry. Yeah, if it gets accepted as a project, it's got a time ticker goes on to get approved. They have a certain time frame to get all those information in. So in some respects, sometimes it's better to get it approved and then get them off, get them on the timer to get them off the other side than this kind of delaying tactic.
Right, and that's sort of what happened with Peters Lane is we reached our statutory deadline. We had to make a decision. We didn't have enough information. We had to deny it. So the commission had to deny it.
And on that, that's been appealed, I assume, right by now?
Yes, that has been appealed. We just filed, our attorneys filed a list of papers, which comprises the entire record for their application and its denial. So it's moving along through the appeal process.
All right. Again, that's something we want to keep an eye on because again, that is right up against Roseville Forest and again, really sensitive kind of area. So cool.
Yep.
All right, Kelly, thank you. Anything else in the wetlands?
Nope.
Please,
I mean, we
say
have some small commercial industrial applications, but nothing that I think is worthy of discussing with you folks, unless you really want me to go into every single application.
No, I think
only if it involves cutting into woods.
Only if we.
These are already developed properties.
I trust your judgment.
Yeah, we'll use your judgment.
That's why we pay you the big bucks, Kelly.
That's right. All right, Bruce Brook.
Bruce Brook watershed-based plan, still working on the contract, so no movement on that. We won't be reimbursed for anything we do without a contract, so we're not really moving. We did, however, meet with folks from Stratford Health Department and Bridgeport Health Department, Bridgeport Engineering, and WPCA. Just a quick call, just to touch base with our neighbors, see how they're doing on identifying illicit connections and things of that nature, trying to clean up the brook. So. We were meeting before COVID. We were meeting pretty regularly, and we were really aggressively trying to do an actual physical cleanup of the brook and seek out potential illicit connections. So direct sewage discharge to the brook. And Bridgeport, I think, disconnected like a dozen or so at that time. They made a lot of good progress. But we've been waning a little bit. I think we're all kind of just waiting to get this contract sorted out so we can really get to work under the watershed-based plan. So not much on that. And then the Audubon Salt Marsh Stewards, just wanted to remind you folks, if you know of any high school students at either Bunnell or Stratford High, we did receive that grant to fund, I believe it's 12 high school students to work on the Great Meadows Salt Marsh Restoration Project. So really neat opportunity for our high schoolers to be paid and work on one of I think it's the largest unditched salt marsh in New England. Right. Really freaking cool. So if you guys know of anyone, feel free to give them my contact. I'll hook them up with.
Is that on the website? Is that on the town's website?
I don't believe it is. It's the town's role in it is really managing the HR aspect, so all the drug screening, pre-employment screening, and we'll be accepting the funds from so the funds are going to go from NIFWIF to Audubon, and then Audubon's going to transfer them to the town, and then we'll be cutting the checks. So they'll be an employee of the town, but we'll be managing the HR, while Audubon and their partners will be managing the actual work environment for these kids.
Karen?
I have a question too.
You may want to contact Dr. Sunday for him to put it out to the high school principals through the science teachers, that they may have students that would be appropriately interested.
Yeah, Audubon has already been in both of the schools and made presentations to various science
good.
courses. So,
That's perfect. Yeah, that's
but
perfect.
I'm not sure if the superintendent knows, so I will bring that up to him just so we can go top down as well as bottom
Yeah.
up on that.
So Karen, do we have a science coordinator? I remember we had
Peter Bowe used to be there, but he retired, so I'm not sure who replaced him. It's going to take me a while to remember the names, but
Okay.
there
I'll
is
look it up.
Yeah.
Samantha,
We always used to have a science.
Rosenberg is a contact, and she could definitely help out because she's STEM coordinator, but I think she's lower grades.
Right. All right, well, that's something good to find out who that science coordinator is, but for a lot of the stuff that we do too.
I do know that the guidance department was sending it out because we got a copy of the email.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Okay, good. That's good. Hello, I see the top of your
Angela,
head.
you look like
We're like looking up your nose.
I'm looking at the top of
Sorry.
her head. I'm like,
We're looking up your
remind me of
nose.
that show, I Love Abishola, where the mother's talking on there. I just see that. All right, so cool. Yeah, that's a great again, we talked about this last month. That's such a great program. If there's any, I know I have my CDC kids that are, and I have some same age, and they're also, I believe they're in, the Stratford school. So I'll send it off to the CDC and get them to know about it also.
And if
I don't
you
want to
are-
lose them for work though.
If you are running short, I'm happy to pass it out to some college students as well. That might want a nice
Okay.
little. But
Yeah, I think that there is one position for one college age student to lead the high school
Right.
group, but I'm not sure how they're staffing that, to be honest.
Yeah, as we mentioned last month, that this program is with just seeing how the other wildlife guards are working with other programs with Audubon. This is just a nice thing for Stratford to have, and I think we can get this thing to grow. This could be very cool.
how many students are you looking for? Like ideally, how many high school students would you like?
12 is what we have funded for. Yep. And there are volunteer opportunities. So if there's a student that perhaps is not selected, we do have volunteer opportunities, just not paid, of course. And that goes for the general public. Anyone can volunteer, not just students.
We
So.
get enough of our own students to volunteer.
Yeah, I think
that'd be great.
Well, they're not. Yeah, these are paid, and then we get volunteers. That's the next
What
one.
I mean, like our paid students.
Cool. All right.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else for Kelly on her report?
I just wanted to really quickly add, I didn't put it on here, but I just wanted to let you all know that we have been monitoring the snowy owl situation at Long Beach. I'm in constant contact with CT Deep, Connecticut Audubon Society, and Audubon Connecticut, as well as Greg. We're constantly talking with the mayor on this topic and reevaluating what's going on down there. And the mayor has ordered additional police patrols down there because we have had some conflicts amongst humans, not with the bird. So I just wanted to let you all know that we are monitoring that. And if you guys do see anything, feel free to shoot me an email.
Right. Yeah. That's good. That's good. Karen.
Laura, you may want to talk to the council about charging out-of-state residents year-round for entrance into the beaches, because my mom and I go there regularly we sit there and have lunch, and we've started counting out-of-state cars, just so you know. And one of the things that we have seen is there's a tremendous amount of cars from New York and Massachusetts, a couple from New Jersey, but predominantly New York and Massachusetts. And they seem to be the ones that are least respectful. Does that make sense to you?
That's something that certainly we can bring up maybe with Parks and Rec, but you have to be careful because a lot of the people that have moved up here just haven't changed their car license plates yet.
Yeah, so we don't know
a lot
exactly.
of them might be residents. So
they're required by law to do that.
They are within
Yeah.
a certain time frame.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Something to look at. I
We
think
could look at it.
Good
for sure.
idea. I like that idea of charging out of state people in off season. You
Yes.
know, because, I mean, like even with our, kite surfing and stuff like that, that's gonna, all those little residual things, every little bit will help, I think.
Yeah, yeah. I think the logistics, I think that counts us. I think that Laura just said it has to go to Parks and
Yeah.
Rec to look at that building, because Angela, you sit in that building. I'm pretty sure that doesn't have heat. Angela's head.
Yes, that was me. My head's gonna appear.
I'm assuming that has no heat in there or anything like
No.
that. So that would have
No,
to be
it's nothing. No bathroom, no heat, no air conditioning, nothing. It's just a shack.
It's a block. Yeah.
It's a
Box
shack,
shop.
but they
I
do
was
have a porta
outside
potty.
today. At least that person gets to sit in a box. Come on.
For a punishment. Okay, I like that. It'll be the punishment box.
Jeez.
All right.
Yeah.
But Karen, that's a good idea. I think Laura will pass that on.
Get in there.
Well,
Okay.
is there any way, again, the town could buy, again, the same technology that they use for, again, people going through red lights? Is that, I'm just throwing that out. I mean, is it feasible?
Yeah, I think she'll look at Parks and Rec and see that. I think the issue down there is just infrastructure. There's really no infrastructure down in that area, as you know. So any kind of work that would have to be done on those lines would have to be power lines, have to be dug underground. They'd have to put a way to mount these things, and they have to be all underground, because you don't want any wires that would then trip up birds that would be flying through the area. That is a big issue. Yeah, you don't want to be hanging things for protection and have them injure themselves on a power line.
And
So
would you want this for
We have a
full?
pump station that is
what's that,
literally,
Karen?
I said we have a pump station that's being rebuilt, a half a block from
Yeah.
where
Yeah.
the little booth is.
Yeah.
And there's no reason that they can't possibly move up the,
I think logistics. It gets out of our purview a little bit. So I think this goes back to like we said to them, and then because then Kelly has to look at digging into the barrier beach, putting things in the barrier beach could have some issues with deep and federal guidelines too. So that again, let's not get into the weeds.
If they look at the pump house area, it's before the beach, just before the beach entrance, and it's not on the beach. So it's an appropriate place to look at. So just something to
something to look at. Yeah. Let's not get too deep in the weeds on this, but I think those are good ideas. Excellent. All right. And then we just kind of go into old business again, pretty quickly through this. The kite surfing is still under review for that area, and I know they've been out there this fall because the wind's been good, and again, it's not an issue for any flying birds or piping plovers or anything that's out there. Maybe a little bit for the snowy owls. We don't know that. From again going back to what Kelly mentioned, she's been in contact. I've been in contact with Audubon and all that kind of stuff, and going back just to the snowy owls. The biggest problem we have down there is not the owls being disturbed, is the people disturbing themselves. So it's right now any monitor on the birds from Audubon is saying the birds are doing very well. They hunt during the earlier morning and the late evening when the hordes are not there. Really, what they're doing is resting most during the day. And so far, the health and welfare is being monitored really by Audubon, and it looks pretty good. But on the kite surfing, Kelly, I know you have some report on that.
I just wanted to mention that I did speak with our recreation superintendent, because Joe Kripsky namely has brought up that there is a sign that limits the location of where you can kite surf, and that wasn't something that we're previously educating our seasonal staff on. So this upcoming season, I'm going to work with Amy, and we're going to try and educate them to enforce that regulation. We'll see how it goes. But it just was something that wasn't really enforced in the past, so we're going to try that and see if that will help curb some of that activity.
The biggest thing here, and it's really worked out. I mean, it's not worked out again. The mayor has been good to get some police presence down there during the day, even just drive-through, so it gets people thinking a little bit more that there are people watching out. And if we can get that kind of to continue as we get into these seasons, not just for photographers and snowy owls, but for kite surfers and everybody else. Again, maybe this is the foot in the door to get more people, the police, going down there to supervise what's going on. Just again, not maybe to do a lot of ticket taking, but at least for people to see that there is a police presence. That this may be a way again to push that forward just a little bit. If again, once they get it on their routine, and Karen knows this, once they get the routine in, it's just part of the routine, right, Karen? You know, they just, it's once you get into the routine and they know, go down there, spend a little bit of time, look around, show that you're there. That can go a long way to solving some problems. Okay, cool. All right, coastal rodents. Anything more, Kelly? I've been looking too. I haven't really come up with much more information than we had last meeting.
Yeah, I do need to touch base with our partners on that, and I posed the question of that rodent birth control, and I haven't heard back, but we were kind of in the holiday funk there, so I need to touch base with our partners and see if they were able to review that and talk to other agencies and other states on that.
Yeah, and one of the things that Laura just mentioned is that one of the issues with again going back to our friends down there, the white birds that come from the north, the rat population is good for them because that's what they're looking to eat. So poisoning them and doing anything to them right now would not be a good thing for that. For the winter population, not good, but it's also bad for the summer population. So.
But isn't what Kelly was proposing that birth control that shouldn't have any effect?
Right. Yeah, but I think we're still looking to see if there's any ramification.
Yeah.
I still want Cassandra to start working on her flute playing and see if we can start doing a little.
Yeah, I have clarinet in my background. Let's
clarinet,
go.
that works. Clarinet works. Yeah, clarinet works.
Be
Just
fine.
some boots and a hat, and we just have you playing down there and just walk them the heck out of there. That's all.
Do it.
Karen.
A friend of mine who lives on a coast in a different state had suggested that if we did use some type of a poison, that the carcasses should be cremated.
Yeah. Well,
If you find that.
That way they wouldn't be in a landfill and affect other wildlife. And that
well, yeah.
was,
Well, yeah. Now, there's again, we get the logistics of this. It gets even to where they have to be cremated. There's been issues with fleas that these rats are carrying that could cause some problems. Deer ticks, Lyme disease that these things can carry also. So again, it's not just one little thing. It's just big snowballs that swell you down the hill. So again, we just don't want to knee-jerk our action on this and try to do something that could make a bigger problem down the road. Put cane toads down there to eat the rats, and I think they tried that in Australia, and that didn't work so well either.
No.
Okay. All right, native planting list. That's what we're talking. I like to say.
Me and Kelly have been
Hey, you
talking.
give me that deer in the headlight look.
Me and Kelly have a list together. We know what
what'd
to
you
do. We have some stuff. If I would say if you guys want to put any input, go for it. But I think me and Kelly have found a couple things that are nice.
Right. I think that's the best way to do is look at somebody else's work and just modify it. Build on it. Yeah, because again, we want to get that in wetlands so they can have a list of plants that we want Stratford to have. So again, we thank you for your work on that. We'll just keep that on the list just to bug you. And now, anything else in old business? Hearing none. New business. Let me take direct chair's privilege just to ask a question of the commission first. I've been approached by a couple other commissions and other people in the town, and with Bill McCann retiring from the commissions and kind of stepping back, they were talking about doing a plaque or sending him some flowers, something like this. But the discussion we've been having is potentially doing a naming issue someplace in the town. Naming a building, naming an area. It gets difficult, and that's why I'm bringing this to you guys. This is for discussion only. It's not saying we just do this, but it's just something to start thinking about if we wanted to look at this. The difficulty with this is that so many good people are in the town of Stratford that if you start doing this, then every plant and every bush and every street corner is named, right? So criteria for these type of things should be in place. Service to the town, service to the people, making an impact. I think, and I'm not sure that's on our side, but really a decision tree should be put together, a decision tree that says, did that person do this, 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 this? And if there's 15 items and they do, 12 of them, then that makes it worthy of that kind of situation. I'm just bringing this up for thought right now. I don't want to have this as a posthumous thing. I'd like to do this, earlier than later, if it's something that we can do. And I think, Kelly, maybe you have to bring this to, the mayor's attention or along those lines. But I'm looking at something again, and with Bill, I've always heard him talk about Roosevelt Forest. I've always heard him talk about the pavilion out there in Roosevelt Forest, the building that's out there, the office out there. To name that building after him would not be a long stretch. I don't think there's a line of people that want their names on that. I'm not talking about the picnic pavilion, which also could be, but I was talking about the office building down there. But that's not even being used anymore, right, Kelly? Is that being used at all?
I'm not sure. I think maybe the scouts use it, but I certainly do not. I have never done that.
I don't want to put my name. I don't want to do something like this and put it on something that's the derelict building. Congratulations. Here's your building. So it's something to think about. I think I look at and Karen, and so we have to go with some old timers too, to say where would be. Sorry, I didn't mean to mention you, Karen, as an old.
It's okay.
I just looked right at you. That's all. But looking at where this could be appropriate, and then going down the path to see how that can happen. We know we have Marcia Stewart Way. We know we have Doc Gunther down there. I don't know how many other conservation names are around there, but again, if you look at Marcia and you look at Doc, it's very appropriate, right?
Yeah.
I
think it's a wonderful idea, Greg. And Laura, I don't know if you can get the information. I know Board of Education has a specific criteria when someone is requesting either a building or a site named. It's a letter of request, and then there's 10 different, you need 10 different letters of recommendation kind of a thing, and it goes to a committee and blah, blah. And I don't know if that's the same on the municipal side. I thought that they kind of worked hand in hand, but is there any way that you could find out via the council?
I'll definitely talk to someone in the office tomorrow.
Right. Yeah, and as a and again, this is not just Conservation Commission. I've been, other commissions have me and other commissioners have talked about this. So it's not just us looking at this, other people looking at this. And I believe it's a very valid and good program. So
I agree with that. I think it's a wonderful idea, and I think if we can do it sooner rather than later, that would be amazing.
Yes, right.
Right, and the mayor is aware. I mentioned this to her before I even talked to anyone, because I was thinking that we should do something as well, and she's on board. But and I've talked to the chair of Inland Wetlands as well, but we don't have any direction yet, so we're still mulling ideas.
Okay, so you know what? Maybe I'll just communicate with Mike Downs and see if I could just get some sort of a protocol from him.
And again, what I'm looking for is right now more of an ideas of what was Bill's thing, and I know everything was everything, but
his job was at Roosevelt Forest for a long time.
Yeah, he talked about that. He's talked about many. Aileen, he talked about that all the time when he had his office there, and people, this and he was talking to somebody recently about somebody he remembered. There was a little tiny kid came in there and now is doing something. So there's some connection there, I believe. Yeah. So Roosevelt Forest Commission have to be brought into this and all that kind of stuff. So, all right. So if we'll work on this, Kelly. We'll talk and see if we can whatever dials have to be turned for this. We'll see if we can get this moving quicker than later.
Great.
All right. Any other new business?
I don't know if we want to put on Arbor Day, April 29th or April 30th for the river cleanup, just so we can make sure we have all of our ducks in a row. I know it's a couple months out, but. Yeah,
that's a good idea. Yep. That was on our last new business last month, but yeah, let's why don't we put that under maybe under old business, just so we can continue talking about remembering it. Because you're right, it'll turn around and be there, bing bang boom. The other thing
I'll help you with
yeah, thank you. The other thing on old new business was Karen and I and Cassandra and Kelly met over at Perales Farm or the gardens over there, the community gardens over in the old Perales Farm, to look at the fruit forest or the harvest forest, or just had some discussion there. And I'm not going to say we have much more to discuss. I think we said we were looking at putting a program together. I think maybe we'll just leave it at maybe an old business also, just to talk about and see where we stand.
Okay.
Again, I don't think that's much more discussion we could have right now with it at this point. Unless
I'd like to just encourage, Kelly and Greg, you two, if there's another opportunity for a grant for that property, would you say a riparian buffer zone? If anything we do there, from my standpoint, would be to preserve and maintain the only area that is for wildlife. Me and Kelly were talking earlier, like maybe a buffer zone or a place where bees can actually go nest in the ground that are pollinating.
Yeah, I like that a lot. What you don't have there is that good old fashioned hedgerow, like
right.
the hedgerow between the properties. That could be really cool to have as a place where birds and other critters can have.
Well, and that's the thing, we could use that and to elaborate on. And I think next time we're kind of stewing for places for pollinator pathways, let's keep that in our brain too. We could just smack something in there pretty easy.
Yeah, I believe again, we talked about that. It's a great spot because it is a pollinator area, just because that's what it is. As they're all planting gardens, it's all pollination going on there. And so putting a big crack.
High school right there too. Hopefully people would see it.
Yeah, it's the big thing about getting the education component in there and seeing how you would do it to make it work. Karen?
The one thing that it actually was brought to my attention by some parents that pick kids up over in that area, and they're requesting that in the off season, personal belongings be removed from there because it looks dumpy.
It does look dumpy.
That was the
Really,
word.
you're right. It does look. Maybe that's. I think that maybe the blight officer can maybe take a. I wouldn't say it's blight, but it does look blighty. It does look blighty. It does.
And looking at other community gardens in other communities, after this mom said this to me, I was like, oh, I wonder what other community gardens do. And I went over to Milford, and you don't really see that at all.
Yeah, no, they take everything out. They take everything out. They take the old. They remove the old plant material. They clean up the plot so it looks like a plot, not
Right.
like what looks like there is they've picked whatever was there and they left the vines and left everything just there.
Right.
And left
They just walked away, and then it's like, oh yeah, I'll be back. But in the
and
meantime,
then they probably come in the spring and clean it all up again, but still it's not very attractive.
But you got 6 months, where it's not looking good. So
I'm making a list for Renee.
And there's no big, and again, there's no sign. Again, I don't want to. This is kind of, we talked about this community gardens is kind of a gray area in the Conservation Commission's realm here. It's pollination, it's the earth, it's plants, but it kind of gets a little gray there. But there is no sign. Again, my head is not spinning right. Is there a sign there that says that community gardens there? Is there any graphic or anything there that says what it is?
Not really. That is what I would call observable.
I don't think there's anything that says that this is the XYZ community gardens. So when people drive by, they say, "Oh, I know what this is."
Right, there could be like a plaque, so if you want to call the number or you want to look up.
Yeah. There's nothing there. All right. So that's again back. We're in the weeds in the gardens right now. We're in the weeds. So Laura's writing it down. She can get to Renee and talk about this, and maybe we get some signage. Kelly.
I was just gonna say I'll touch base with Jason who manages the garden, and I'll ask him about fall cleanup and what that process looks like.
What's Jason's last name?
Garnet.
Yep.
Yeah.
Does he work with Esposito, Chad?
Yeah, he's under Chad, but he's only part-time, so he's a town employee, but it's kind of.
And I gotta tell you, the amount of work that poor guy's got to do in that big area for that one guy, that's insane. He's got over 100 fruit trees there that he's supposed to prune, And like we talked about when we were there with the four of us were there, I said, I used to prune my grandfather's trees. I used to prune my own peach tree here. I couldn't stand doing one tree, you know, and this guy's got 100 trees he's got to do there. And then have the fruit just stand on the trees and not do anything with it. So, all right. Any other new business?
Mm-mm.
I just wanted to bring up something like very, Cassandra's talked about it a while ago, that little planting strip that you wanted to do kind of around your street.
Yeah, me and Kelly were actually talking about this the other
Okay.
day, and I think the only thing that we could really do is literally just do it. So
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
I'm planning on doing is kind of, it's great if the Conservation Commission is involved, but as soon as you have too many people, I feel like it's hard to execute the work. So at this point right now, over the winter and in next spring, I'm going to just measure it and get a design together that's full of natives. So then we have an example as the plot, and then
Right.
I'm going to have Razor's Edge adopt that spot.
Perfect.
So it's still a Conservation Commission thing. And then we'll use that as our pilot program. So it's
Right.
funny, I was thinking about it in the shower, believe it or not. But like, no, I'm serious. Because like, okay,
Yeah.
say we adopt this spot, like say Razors adopts this spot and
Right.
put up the money to put it in, conservation supports it, the mayor's behind it. We start talking about, hey, is there an area in your community where we could do this? Okay,
Right.
so we do that, but like, how do we execute that part? Like around the corner on
Well,
off Freeman, they did
yeah.
that little spot. So
Yeah.
like Kelly's worried about follow-up maintenance. Greg, you've brought up birds planting miscellaneous seeds too. So, well, one's really easy for me to do. You know what I'm saying? But like,
You're not gonna do all of them.
do a raffle or something, like
Right.
all the other adopt a spots around town that like, you know, the bank pays for it, but Shannon maintains it.
Right.
So how do we figure out like maybe we come up with 10 spots, or like we're supposed to talk to Renee at Parks and Rec, right? Where are we paying the mow guys that we don't mow? So then
Right.
what? We do like a lottery, these 10 spots here, who wants to fund this? Or are we doing donations in order for us? But so
Well,
long
see,
story
here's how
short,
we look at that.
program done. So then
Yeah.
we've done it, planted it. We have a list. We have an example, and then we kind of figure it out.
Here's how I would look at that. This is how where you bring in economic development in, you bring in Mary Dean in, and you bring in the chamber in, the Stratford Chamber of Commerce in, and say, okay, the Conservation Commission, let's take you to a spot or take a pictures of it or do a little PowerPoint, right, of your spot that you're talking about, and say, now we want to do this throughout the town of Stratford. It's good for conservation, but it's also good for economic development. It takes care. It's good for keeping the staff having to mow it all the time and keep it.
We'll just get Ryan to come.
But I'm just saying, yeah, just get Ryan to come and plant it. But I'm saying is, what you want to do now is you want to get the business community involved. So you get Mary Dean involved. So really, the pilot program is kind of the key. Get that finished so you have something to really show.
Right.
Then we go around, or maybe we go with Mary and say, okay, what areas around here? And I'm pretty sure, I hate to say this, but bring in, the beautification committee and say, okay, where do you guys see that areas need to be done? And you make this into a partnership, and then
That'll start a really big.
Well, that may be a big snowball. Yeah, that may be a little bit too big.
Well, at least we could get daffodils there, so it'll be fine.
Again, it's if you can get some businesses in town with the business community, with the chamber, that say, okay, we'll put the money into this. Again,
Right.
just like you said, it's give me a cost, how much it costs to plant it.
Right. And that's why I feel
$3,000.
like the ultimate decision has to be just do step one, and
Right.
then after we do that, actually
And then
physically do it, and then everything's gonna roll, because then we could call all those people you're talking
Right.
about.
Then figure the plan. You're going to do
all the problems we had from the first one, so then we're ready to release to the public.
We'll do a little wine and cheese there.
So, part of the thing is that it started with your idea, and then Mercer Street kind of did their thing on their own last year. And speaking of beautification, they recognized that project and gave them an award.
So great. Yep. Perfect.
It worked out really nice. And to start with this area right on Main Street, I think it's a great way to start doing more of that.
Okay. All right. Cool. So again, this is one of those things where you don't ask permission, you just do it.
Better to ask for forgiveness. than
Yeah,
ask-
exactly right. All right. Anything else, guys? We are past our hour. Anything else?
You want a motion to
All right,
adjourn?
we're on to February, on to Valentine's Day. All right. All right. Well, guys, have a great rest of your month. We'll talk to you.
Stay healthy.
Stay healthy. Yeah, that's the big thing right now. And we'll see you in February.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Aye.
Aye. All right, guys. Thank you.
All right. Take care. Bye.
Bye.
Stay well.
Yeah, we try.